Hello, friends. Thanks for joining me for another book chat. Today is pretty special because I have a special guest, my coworker, Ananth. How you doing, Ananth?
Hi, Bill. I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thanks for having me on your channel.
Sure, yeah. So Ananth and I started reading the Wheel of Time series a while back. Do you remember why we started? I think we were watching the series and you were reading the first book, and I thought that sounds like a good idea.
Exactly. So we started watching the Amazon series,
Yeah,
and then simultaneously we started reading the book as well.
yeah. And then the first book was
And
just so fun.
yeah, it was. And the way the series took us, at least to me, the way the series took, I was very interested in wanting to read all the 17 books. So that's how it started.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I dragged you in. Yeah.
It was, and it's been so fun. And I don't know why we haven't done a chat together because we always chat about the book. So we've been buddy reading this series slowly over time. So we are on book 7,
Right.
A Crown of Swords. I read this book electronically. I think you mixed it up, didn't you? Didn't you do audio and
I did. I did.
electronic?
I do mostly audio because of the size of the books. I mean, the volume
Yeah.
is just way too many pages. So since I drive around a lot, I like listening to the audio better. And for this particular book, I mixed both the audio and the video.
Okay.
So that helped me finish it faster. I usually take a longer time than I typically do. But this one I was able to finish faster. Well, this was also a fast book to an extent, and the audio helped me finish it faster.
Okay, well, I haven't tried the audiobooks. One of these days I may try one. I've been reading them electronically. But yeah, they're whoppers, right? This was I don't
Yeah.
know, like 800 something pages, I think. This one came out in 1996. So we are in book 7. I did want to mention about spoilers. So yeah, we're in book 7. It's almost impossible in a series like this at this point to not give away spoilers. So I thought what we would do, Anna, is we just kind of chat a bit about some non-spoilery things about the book,
Sure.
just to kind of catch up on what we're thinking about the series so far, and then maybe we'll dive into a few book-specific spoilery things. So what's your favorite thing about this series so far?
Well, first of all, comparing between the series on the TV, the Amazon series, and the books, are completely different. So they don't match at all, and I
Yeah.
like the books better. Even though I started with the way the series in on Amazon was portrayed, I like started when I started reading the books. I like the books better. I like the character development of the main characters, starting from when they were first introduced, all the way up to book 7. The way the characters have been developed has been quite amazing.
Mhm.
I don't know if this would constitute a spoiler, but particularly the way Perrin's character has developed, I really like it.
Mhm.
He's more yeah. So I don't want to give up too much, but it's
Well, they're
it's
growing
it's
up, right? They started out in book 1, they're kids basically and naive
correct.
from a very provincial background, and then sort of
Right.
all hell breaks loose in their lives
Right.
as the world really begins to change, as the wheel of time turns, and they get woven into the pattern, right? And they start having to their lives get upset. So yeah, I agree with you. You know, there's been a lot of, well, they've all grown up in different ways,
Yes.
but
The
Perrin,
ladies and the men have all grown up, in different ways, and how the characters that Robert Jordan has developed those characters, I really enjoy that part. Although I personally think that the writing could have been a little better, because I think Robert Jordan spends a lot of time on the minutiae of things, the shape of the carpets, the jewelry, the braids of women, the skirts of women. And then there are key points in these books, really pivotal events that he just skims over.
yeah.
And that to me has always been, I have a thought, okay, maybe I need to stop reading this, but I still continue because of, okay, maybe it gets better, maybe things change. So that's my one small gripe with this book.
Well, I
with the
agree.
book series.
It's like, and the others as well, sort of
Yeah,
add
the series itself.
sometimes. But to me, yeah, the world is so immersive that
Mhm.
I kind of forgive this kind of thing because I get immersed into the world. And um, I think for me, really most interesting thing about the series has been the gendered use of magic or the one power. Because that could very easily, I think, go a direction that would be annoying or be stereotypical. And while it does follow pretty gender stereotypes as far as what's considered male and what's considered female. Somehow it kind of works in a way and makes it interesting. The interaction, I think, with the power. So I think that's been kind of a fun thing. That the world is just an immersive world, and then the character.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I agree with sometimes we spend a lot of time on what people are wearing and things like that. And then when there's actually a pivotal point, like someone's having a showdown fight, it's like, well, that's over. And like,
Right. In like 5 lines, correct.
pages, that's like, oh, okay, okay. So there can be those little jolts, but
And
oh,
I love the way, to me personally, this book is a little bit more feminist. In other words, the societies that come up in these books, the Aiel, the Aes Sedai, the different societies that come up are very female oriented,
mhm,
which to me it empowers the female aspect of the series. So I just love that. And how they, even though the main character is a male, it's because of, so far, it's because of all these female characters that the male character is succeeding. So it's a very pivotal role that these ladies play. And the societies have always been matriarchal, which I absolutely love. In this today's world where it's always male dominant, everything is male related. This is a breath of fresh air for me. The way the series has developed and shows the female characters to be taking a lead role and be more positive, and because of them, the main character, who's Rand, is succeeding.
mhm.
So without them, I don't see him being as successful in the series so far as he has been.
Yeah, that's that symbol is basically the yin and yang, and the gendered powers that I was talking about earlier, because it kind of takes both.
Right.
Women have they're very powerful in a female way. Although there's other characters like Brigitte. We won't go
Yeah.
into details with her, but she has certain masculine traits, and
Correct.
um, are I won't say masculine traits, more traditionally masculine warrior kind of traits. But there's a whole warrior class of women in the book, in the series, and that's
Right.
pretty fun too.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
so I wanted to just mention about, because one thing I kind of always kind of like is the titles. A Crown of Swords here. The title is from a prophecy. So there's a lot of prophecies being fulfilled in the book as well. And each one seems like every book we get a little bit more information about the prophecy of the great showdown to come, right?
Right.
With Rand. But
Right.
kind of back to the characters, I guess. If you were going to spend some time with one of our Emmons Field folks, who do you think you'd want to spend time with?
That's actually a really good question. It made me think a lot. I would spend time with Perrin because of the way his character is developed. His ability to speak with the wolves. To me, it's a very mystical thing. Wolves are considered very mystical creatures, and his ability to speak with wolves, has always intrigued me. And he's developed beautifully. I mean, the way he doesn't talk much, but he gets things done. and he's played a very pivotal role in helping Rand protect the Two Rivers. There's that battle, and he comes in and helps without his support and help, and he's one of the characters who does not want to be a leader, but is thrown into the leadership position and then takes up that mantle of leadership flawlessly. So that is absolutely, I don't know how to describe it. He's one of the best characters that is in that book. He helps Rand, even though Rand at one point, and I think this is a spoiler moment in book 7, doesn't want to trust him and kicks him out, right? So despite all that, he still always wants to help Rand and always thinks that, he needs to be there for Rand. And he's a loner. He doesn't talk much. Of course, he's now again, this is a spoiler moment as well. He's married and he has a wife, but he still, likes to be alone, speaks less. It's that part always appeals to me. And he gets things done. Let's put it that way. I'm going to stop. I don't want to give too much of it. Gets things done. And his development has been beautiful. From being, a simple farm boy, blacksmith person, all the way up to who he is now.
Yeah.
And to me, that's an excellent development of the character. So he's my favorite.
I agree. So one thing about this book, the series, I mean, is the world building. So there's multiple cultures presented, multiple power structures. So every little kingdom has its own sort of thing. You consider yourself an Emmons Fielder, I'm gathering. If you were in the world, you lived in the world. Yeah, I think I would be a tinker. I don't know. I think I would fit in really well in Emmons Field, but I just I feel like probably that's where I would be. But the tinkers are, for those who don't know, are a sort of vagabond traveling. They travel in caravans and they are pacifists. And I'm not a very good fighter. I would not make a good Aiel at all. I'd probably fit in best with the Tinkers, but I would fit in with, I think I'd be okay in Emmons Field too. I'd having some kind of like small town job and like Perrin did.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I
would be a good sheep herder like Rand was. Right?
I am from a small town. So I grew up in a small town. When I moved here to the US, I came to a small city. Everything was small until I came to Houston, which is a ginormous place. Yeah. So Two Rivers always appeals to me in that sense because, it's a small place. It got thrust into the patterns of the wheel because of the prophecy. Mm-hmm. And how these 3 people and the ladies were pulled into this whole, in the wheel of time weaves. That was interesting. Mm-hmm. So, and Perrin's character development is interesting because he's a quiet person. He's usually very quiet. He doesn't cause mischief like the other 2 characters.
Yeah. Like Matt.
But he gets thrust into it. Yeah.
Okay, so what was we've kind of talked about some favorite aspects of the series. What about this particular book? Favorite aspect as far as like kind of a more general.
So this book was the fastest paced book among all 7 I've read. It's really fast paced and it starts off with a bang. I love the way the story progresses. I don't want to give away too much. I love the way the story progresses. But the downside is the end I was not happy with the way it ended. Again, it's one of the most pivotal points, and I was sitting there wondering what happened. Why did it end like this? But it made me think that this is Robert Jordan's way of hooking people to stay on to the series, because now I want to go back and read the
Gotta
next
go to the
book.
next book to see.
I gotta
Yeah.
go to the next book to see what's happening. So it's a great hook, but the ending was, to me, a little disappointing. I wish it could have ended a little better. But there are lots of, question marks. And, I don't know what happened to Matt after that particular point. Again, this is a spoiler moment. He goes into battle, he gets injured, and I don't know what happens after that. It's left blank. I don't know what's happened to a certain other character at the end of the book. That's left as a question mark. It ended so abruptly. So I can't wait to go to the next one. But this is one of the fastest paced books that I've read in the entire series. And I'm going to segue into this quote that I loved. I mean, and the reason I love this is because I can connect it to present day political events. There's a quote in one of the chapters, I'm not going to say which one, that says, "Truth can change 100 times between a single sunrise and a sunset." So, and you see that every day in today's political climate.
True.
Truth changes every day. It's not with the capital T, where it is absolutely solid and is intransmutable. It's with a small t that it changes the way people perceive it to be. So to me, that is a very powerful quote in the book that stuck with me. Other than that, I don't have much in terms of, I don't want to give away too much, but it's a fast-paced book. Ending was not the way I wanted it to be. There are a lot of question marks to some of the characters that that I don't know about now. I have to wait for the next book. So that's my interpretation of book 7.
Yeah, I kind of align with that. But just a little delving into some spoilers, or some more blatant spoilers. Who do you think's the biggest villain going on right now? Who scares you the most?
So the Shiva scares me the most. So the Shiva is one of the Ashraman, for people who don't know. They're the male channelers. Similar to the Aes Sedai, but the male side. They use the male power to channel. And the Shiva scares me the most, even though he is, seems like he is he's in a hand in glove with Rand. I'm not sure. He comes across very oily to me. And
Yeah,
that scares me.
It's kind of sketchy.
He comes across kind of sketchy. And he scares me the most. And Hussein, who is one of these Aes Sedai ladies who gets just dropped right in the middle of the book, out of the blue. I have no idea who she is and why she comes in. She's in there, and I don't know what she's planning. Yeah. So those two characters seem to be sketchy to me. We need to see how they get developed.
Yeah, villains. I'm scared of the Shanshan. Like, they freak me out with the collars and all that. So they kind of scare me. And then that Forsaken woman that enslaves the powerful and makes them her, toys. I got to see her go down. Because
you mean Mogadane?
She's bad. She's bad news. I can't think of her name. Which one?
Okay.
I always get the Forsaken, their names confused. She's the one that keeps the little pleasure palace and.
Oh, yeah. I think her name is Grendel or something like that. I can't remember now.
I'm blanking on her name.
I'm blanking on her name
Look
too.
it up for this chat, but yeah, she's bad. I mean, they're all kind of bad, but I mean, she's really bad.
Yeah.
She's not cool. So what's the most shocking plot twist to this what's the most shocking plot twist for this particular book to you?
Dropping in Lan out of the blue. He just walks in through a tent. I was like, this makes no sense. How did he come about?
I know. Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay. I'm glad he's back.
I am too.
That was a shocking.
I am too. I'm glad he's back, but I have no idea why he's back, how he's back.
And then they just like
None of
got
that.
married. He and Nynaeve got married.
Yeah, that's another shocking. Where did they get married? In the
And
boat?
he's somebody else's warder.
He is. I think
So
the plan is for Nynaeve to go talk to that particular Aes Sedai who's bonded him to herself and then take that bond back to herself. That is Nynaeve.
yeah.
So I know that's the plan, but I need to see how it goes.
And then I think the other shocking plot twist to me was that Aiel woman that went missing in the previous book. She shows up in that haunted city. And I
Yeah.
always forget that city's name. I think, do you know this?
Cedar Lagoth.
Okay, yeah.
Cedar Lagoth. Yeah. Yeah.
She shows,
That.
okay, well, I didn't see that coming either. And she had somehow managed to survive in that like death trap for
For however long she's been
previous book.
away.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
a good while. So what's the most shocking plot twist in the series for you so far?
So Nynaeve dying, that to me was
Oh, you mean
really
Moraine?
upsetting. Not Nynaeve, what's that? Moraine.
Yeah.
Moraine dying was the most upsetting thing to me, because I never expected that.
And I'm not over it. I am not over it yet.
No, I'm not either, and neither is Lan. So
Yeah, true.
neither is Lan. So that to me is the most shocking twist of the plot. I think she probably did it because she wanted to prove to Rand that she can be trusted. Because there was a point in the series that Rand completely didn't trust any Aes Sedai, and he was not happy with Nynaeve.
Well, that kind of got borne out in the last book, Jesus.
Yeah,
Whereas, like, yeah, the Aes Sedai really took a turn for the worse there. In the
yeah,
last book with Rand.
yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of can't blame him now. Like, but I would still trust Moraine. And
I
I would
would
still
too.
trust Schwan, the former Amerlin seat.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, by the
So
way, Ananth and I, were coworkers. So we used to call our boss, not our boss, but the person over our department was this woman, and we called her the Amerlin seat. She's since moved on to a different job, but that was fun.
yeah, that was, and she was very similar to
She
Siwan
was very
in
Amerlin. Yeah, she was a
yeah.
perfect Amerlin seat. Yeah. All right. Well, I think, I don't want to, we could talk about this book for another hour, but we probably,
Correct.
it's fun though. I don't really know why we haven't chatted these before, but the next one, right? Book 8. So Ananth and I both read other stuff. So we probably won't get to it for a couple of months, I guess, book 8, but we will have book 8 coming up, and we'll do this again next time, and it'll be
Absolutely.
fun.
Pleasure to be on your channel, Bill.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you at work on Monday,
Sure.
and see you all on the next book chat, which will be coming up soon. So take care.
Thank you.